What was D-Day? All right, chapter 6, Stormy Seas. All right. Okay, guys. You ready? There we go. In the dark, hours before dawn on June 6th, 1944, 5,000 vessels, boats, and different things, military things, of all shapes and sizes, crammed into the waters of the English Channel. So there were tons and tons and tons and tons and tons. The English Channel goes between two pieces of land, right? And then there's water. So we have tons of military allies in the water. It was the largest invasion by sea of all time. The fleet ranged from giant ships carrying 5,000 tons of cargo to small landing boats. The ships and boats seemed to be in a mass so solid one could have walked from shore to shore. So there's so many vessels, boats, different things in here that somebody could have walked from this land on boats to the other side. Right? That's a lot. So you probably wouldn't see this much water. They were just jam-packed. More than 155,000 young soldiers filled the passenger ships. Look at that. That's a lot of people. Their average age was only 22, and you graduate at, 17, 18 years old? So they had just graduated high school. 2 out of every 10 had never even been in battle before because they were so young. The ships carried 20,000 tons of ammunition. Ammunition is for guns and bombs, all different kinds of things that you would shoot to attack the enemy. So there were 20 tons. The 20,000 tons of ammunition was for the first day. Whoa. Germans had loaded the channel with floating mines. The bombs were set to explode when a ship passed over them. But the fleet crossed safely thanks to boats called minesweepers that cleared the waters earlier. Do you remember the minesweepers that we learned about? That would go ahead of the boats so that they would find where the mines were and then they would blow up. And what was one of the other inventions? Yes. No. What was one of the military inventions? Yes, sir.
They put like some stuff down the lines.
Was it a magnet?
Yeah.
Was that what it was? Under the boat so that it would negatively impact. It wouldn't negatively impact the ship, right? So the ship wouldn't blow up. Yeah, the British did it because we got smarter at war, right? And they had, earlier in the book, they had put millions of mines, right? Down in the water. Okay. Yeah, so many. 12 miles from shore, the ship stopped. Soldiers clambered down ropes. Like, this is a big ship. Down ropes into the small little landing boats that would carry them the rest of the way to Normandy. There were no seats inside. Men stood squatted or sat wherever they could. So look, there's so many. In the boats were units of soldiers who had trained together and rehearsed battle plans. Each unit, oh, see, they're climbing down. There's the minesweeper. Boom. Each unit included about 30 men. Every soldier had become an expert at using a certain weapon. There were machine gunners and riflemen. There were soldiers with bazooka guns that fired exploding rockets. Some had flamethrower weapons that burst burning gasoline. So that's all this ammunition. This 20,000 tons of ammunition, that's all this stuff. Wire cutters had tools for slashing barbed wire traps. Mortar teams fired long-range exploding shells. Each troop was a small army itself. Yet, all the power on the boats couldn't stop the terrible problems from the storm. Even getting to shore was hard. Trouble started as soon as the troops transferred to the small little wooden boats. Cold, stormy seawater poured over the rims. Soaked soldiers had to use their helmets to bail out water, so they were using their helmets to scoop the water out of the boats. The choppy swells made many men seasick. A few hours earlier, the Navy had treated the troops to a heavy breakfast. Steak, eggs, pork chops, ice cream, beans, and bacon. Right before a boat ride. Now full stomachs made the soldiers sicker than ever. It was a terrible ride to the beach, recalled squad leader Bob Slaughter in the PBS film D-Day Remembered. A tremendous tsunami swamped our boat, and the water would come over the side and just soak us and make our seasick even worse. Meanwhile, up ahead at the beaches, the stormy weather was causing problems for over 400 Allied bomber planes. They were heading to Normandy to bomb German gun posts before the ground troops came ashore. Here are bombs. Pilots had to steer by radar, which was new technology at the time. They feared dropping their bombs too early and destroying Allied ships in the channel. Pilots were ordered to hold their bombs until they knew for sure they were past the beaches. The bombing raids relied on exact timing. Even a 30-second delay meant bombs would miss their targets by over a mile. Whoa. Remember when we went on walks, we went on 4-mile walks, so that's a long way away. 30 seconds. That's exactly what happened at Omaha Beach on D-Day. By the time Allied planes dropped their 13,000 bombs, they were all past the beaches. Most of the bombs landed in farm fields or cow pastures. No one hit the target. The storm also ruined another D-Day plan. Heavy armed tanks were supposed to land on the beaches, just ahead of the soldiers. The huge cannons would provide fire cover as the soldiers swept the beaches. Weighing several tons, the cannons were much too big for the small landing boats to carry. So the Allies had invented swimming tanks. No way. Swimming tanks that could plow through the water under their own power. High canvas sides made the tanks look like huge covered wagons rising out of the sea. The landing... there you go. The swimming tanks had ace test runs, but they weren't built for heavy seas. 6-foot waves smashed over their sides as they approached Omaha Beach on D-Day. 27 tanks heading to Omaha sank to the bottom of the channel. 3 more became dead in the water. Only 2 made it to shore, but too late to help. That meant soldiers had to fight across the beach on their own with no cover at all. So, do you think that they really had the advantage? No. Do you think that a lot of soldiers made it or died? Died. They died in the water. They died on the beach. Because did they have everything that they needed? No. Why? Because it was... Gosh, I bet you the people at home know. Because there was a storm. Because there was a lot of rain. There was lightning. There was stormy seas. Water was clapping and getting into the boat. Right? It was drowning all of their stuff. They were so seasick. When you're seasick, do you think you can shoot right? think you're walking in a straight line? No, when you're seasick, do you think that you can really use your thinking brain, your looking eyes, and a gun? No. So did they have the advantage? No. Did they have all the tools that they needed? No. There were so many ships, 5,000 boats, and the average soldier was 22. I didn't know a lot at 22. I don't think I could go to war. And they were fed such a good breakfast because do you think the military thought they were going to make it? They thought, I'm going to give you a good meal because you may not make it back. They wanted them to, but it was not ideal conditions. Remember, one of the colonels said, I hope it works. I'm praying for you guys. So then 2 out of these 10 soldiers had never been in battle before. So do you think they were ready?
No, they would have been scared.
They would have been scared. So do you do your best when you're scared? No, yes, sir.
Only some people survived.
Only some people survived. It was a very bloody war. Do you think that when you're scared that you are thinking with the best brain possible? No. So think of being scared, not having your whole brain, being seasick, in a storm, and then having to use a gun that maybe doesn't work because it's all wet. Good or bad? Bad. And there was so much ammunition just for the first day. And did they have all the tools necessary to utilize that? No, because the tanks made it. No. Did they make it on time?
No.
2 made it, and they didn't even make it on time. Yes, sir. There are no waterproof guns. They had them in bags. They had them in plastic bags to protect them from the water. But do you think it really worked well? Probably not.
They should have a
Really hard. All right. And then their bombs. When they were flying and they were going to bomb, could they do it the right way? Why?
Because it's raining.
Because of the storm. Not just the rain, it's a storm. When there is a bad storm, does the rain just come down regular? No. Or there's so much wind, so the rain is going sideways, and there's thunder, and there's lightning, and there's so much going on. I think when it's windy outside, one of you guys said that your umbrella left your house and went to your neighbor's house because the wind picked it up and took it to the neighbor's house. That happened to us. Our outside umbrella picked up and went 2 houses over into their bush because of the wind. So imagine that and rain. They couldn't see, and so even 30 seconds meant that their bomb would go 1 mile away. Crazy. Because they had so much on their pack. Remember the paratroopers, how much stuff they had?
A lot. Like 2,000.
Yeah, it was very heavy. All right. And then did any one bomb make it? No, not a one bomb made it. And then, what was the other thing that was just so crazy? I didn't even put it on here. There's swimming tanks that didn't make it. And these little boats couldn't carry all the ammunition they needed. So did they have everything that they needed?
No.
No. All right, guys. We'll see ya.